been a professional comics artist for, well, you don't mind me saying this, Ian, over 50 years or more, 50 years or more? 60 years. 60 years or more. Working for people like DC Thompson's, Amalgamated Press, IPC, on titles like Dan Dare, Blake 7, famously Commando, and he's done over 1,000 covers, or thousands of covers for Commando. And if you've not seen any of his work, where have you been for the last 60 years? So yeah, we're very, very privileged to have Ian here today. He's going to do an illustration for us live of the Mekon and talk through his technique, which is a traditional technique. So, you know, anyone who's digital, please take note. This is the real art, you know. So yeah, so I'm going to hand over to Ian, but I'll jump in and out of this. But really, Ian's just going to go through his process. He is mic'd up, but we'll do a bit of back and forward. But Ian is just going to go through his actual process here live. When did you start using this technique, Ian, first, would you say?
This probably developed maybe about 20 years ago.
Yep.
Up till then, I started using the acrylic colours as one would use oils.
Mm-hmm. Ian, what kind of paper do you usually use?
Well, normally I use a board, but I didn't have, unfortunately, the proper board that I wanted. So I'm using a paper.
Yep.
This is a watercolour paper,
yep,
which really should be stretched.
Yeah.
Hence the buckling.
Yeah.
But,
what sort of board?
normally it would be a Dale Rowney watercolour board,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps, well, usually not or rough. Not, I like it. Depends very much on the subject.
So when you were working full time, Ian, how many pages or how much work were you able to do on average in a week?
In a week? Well, I suppose the limit came when I was working on Dan Dare, and we did one of these double spreads, which was not bad going.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided they were going to put it to the spread and then the cover.
Yeah.
So it was a cover and the spread, and then it went to the back cover as well. So I was doing the spread and literally 2 pages, and that was when it got to the limit. That was pretty well the limit.
Yeah.
You notice I don't turn it around.
Yeah.
Because if it looks okay upside down, it can't be all that bad right there.
Another top tip there. Write that one down somewhere. Do you usually go in with the background first?
No, quite often it's the other way around.
Yeah.
It all depends. In this case, it's the background first.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll do a bit more of this board.
How do you feel about the onset of digital, Ian?
Of
digital artwork?
digital artwork. Well, we've discussed that often enough, haven't we, Phil?
Yeah.
Initially, I was not terribly keen,
Yeah.
but I do notice that with the advance of the technology, that the things are beginning to look more, shall we say, arty, rather than just flat, uninteresting stuff. This is certainly the sort of paint I enjoy doing, playing around it and allowing gravity to take over and let the paint run, and at times use that to stop it running if it's gone that far or far enough.
We get a lot of requests from our guests, but it's the first time ever anyone's asked for a hairdryer.
I'm going to point out one of the wee things about acrylics. When you do make a mistake, you probably see what I'm pointing to just above the hand here. I made a bit of a mess of that hand, so I had to repaint it a bit. So that's been done with the acrylics quite thick. So of course the watercolour will not lie on that. So what I'd have to do is mix up the acrylic colours thicker to that shade, change it over.
Maybe whilst you're doing that, I can maybe just ask you about some of your inspirations when you were starting out, Ian. Could you maybe just drop some names?
Names? Oh gosh.
DC Thompson's people?
Yes, so yes, I mean, I never cease thanking the lucky stars that I met up with so many of the staff artists in Thompson's. Because it was really a case of an apprenticeship in the true sense of the word.
Yeah.
And that when I went in first, I spent my first 6 months virtually copying their work.
Yeah.
And of course their comments were invaluable.
Yeah. For anyone who isn't aware of the character that Ian's painting at the moment, it's the Mekon from Dundee. He was in the original series of Dundee in the 50s, but also in the 70s version, which we have some copies of available today. We've got a pre-release for that, Ian, the cover that you did for Rebellion.
Yes.
We managed to get some copies in advance of its release, which is in November, that Waterston's have got for sale today. And then the Mekon was in the 80s version of Dundee, which is a comic I was brought up on.
Now, when I do the Mekon here, a wee explanation to start with. He's obviously mainly green, but the highlights will include a fair amount of yellow. So what I do generally when I'm doing the Mekon is that I wash the whole figure over in yellow and then add the green as I feel like it, leaving the yellow areas as the highlights. The temporary shading that I've got on here, I'm going to take away now. So that's more or less where I want to shade. And you notice I'm quite happy to do each section of his face at any one time, not the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Quite happy to do it in pieces. I recommend anyone to have a go and be patient. It'll take a wee while, but I guarantee you will enjoy using them eventually.
He's got a kind of fiery glow, fiery light coming in from the side. Yeah, that's great.
I was trying to get the paint out of this yesterday. And would it come, and I kept on pressing, and all of a sudden I had 2 hands full of acrylic white. You can imagine what the language was there,
Yeah,
I tell you.
I'll take your word for it, Ian. I'm sure I've heard worse.
Okay, I think we'll call it a day, Phil.
Yeah, there's one thing you've not done yet. You've not signed it.
Oh.
And also, well, I'll let you sign it first, and then we'll wind on. And it's safe to say that you are one of the few artists actually, I think, at DC Thompson's who were allowed to sign their work. Is that correct?
I wasn't allowed, no. I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
Latterly, yes, I did the aircraft sketches on one of the scrapbooks.
Yep.
But they did ask whether or not I wanted to sign.
Mm-hmm.
Colin will maybe remember this. But I said, no, not unless they gave me more money.
I'm not going to comment on that. Fantastic. There's one thing I just wanted to say to Ian just before we went up is that if anyone has ever been to his studio, I've been lucky enough to go to his studio, that you have something up on your wall as kind of your mantra. And the mantra is, it doesn't have to be a bloody masterpiece. And I kind of think it applies to this, because to be honest, I think that is, considering the circumstances it's done under, I think it's tremendous. So I'd just like everyone to put their hands together and say thanks very much. See you again.